Um, I still don't have the placement set up very well here, do I? That will fall. How can I do this? It's not very... This is very frustrating, as you can imagine. One day, I might be able to get a proper stand and an actual phone that works. Even though I've got a different phone, it too is second hand and it's nearly worn out too. It's starting to shut down and freeze and anyway, bear with me a bit longer. I was having an idea, especially since there's now so much noise next door. So hopefully hopefully I can use these headphones today, and I'm hoping that that will give you better sound, because the sound has been really crap, I've noticed, especially when I was at the beach the other day. Holy crap, I don't think you guys would have understood any of that. So I'm sort of set up here. I've got lots to talk to you about today and show you. There's been a lot happening. If you're not aware, there's a lot happening for all of us, isn't there? I've been quite absent. I've had some health challenges which I'm trying to deal with. But on top of everything else that's been happening in the world, we've had some family, like some friends of the family have passed suddenly, and we've had some tragedies within the community this last week that have been quite huge. They've impacted a lot of us in the community. And as a member of the local fire brigade, our guys were called to a fatality earlier this week, and it was someone they knew, which is not good. And then the previous brigade I was with, those guys attended as well. And so it's been a really heavy week. That was just one of the several incidents that have occurred. So anyway, in saying that, now I'll come back to that in a moment. Before we get started, I've been searching for some things. I suppose I should start from the beginning. I've realised that we have such an amazing online community of wonderfully kind, generous people here. So I thought I'd put a couple of things out there. Now, this first one, this is a bit of a selfish one, and this is not important, but I have this piece of fabric. It's a tilde, as you can see, and I purchased this when I was working in a quilt store. It'd have to be at least 15 years ago, I reckon. But I have been coveting this piece of fabric for many years. I don't know what it is about it. I absolutely love it. And I've recently started putting it in some of my projects, but this is all I have left. So I want to put it out there to see if any of you have any of this particular fabric that you would be interested in selling or passing on. Just for my own projects, because I love it and I love including it in what I'm doing at the moment. So I'd love to know if any of you have any of this that you no longer want. Please let me know, because I would really love to get hold of a bit more. Okay, that said, I want to move on to something a little bit more serious. One of the ladies that's in the brigade, that I'm in the brigade with, she has recently retired, I believe. She was working with Hunter New England Health, so a real a beautiful, kind, caring person, lovely lady. She is in a group now. I didn't ask a lot of details because I just, I know there are groups around, and it dawned on me if I'm putting this out there and asking, I probably should know more information. So if you'd like to know more information, I can come back and give you that information after I go and speak to her again. But what I want to put out there is that this lady's in a group of women who gather regularly and they create quilts. However, they then donate the quilts. Okay, they've been donating to homeless people, people in need, and just this last week they've been asked to contribute to um, a local charity called Carrie's Place. And Carrie's Place helps women and children escaping domestic violence. So, why I'm telling you about this is because these lovely group of women have the time and the tools, well, the machines and the space to create these quilts. But they've run out of fabric. They've run out of quilting fabric. They're short on wadding and cotton threads. And I've been gathering everything I can find to donate. I've donated some. I've got some more coming on the way that I've dug out. I've asked my immediate family if they've got any that they can contribute. And it dawned on me this morning, I can ask you guys. Um, if any of you have any quilting fabrics, it doesn't matter if they're small pieces. They told me even if they can cut little squares or triangles out of them, they can still use them to piece together. Doesn't matter if they don't match, the fabrics don't match because they put them all in a big pool, like a big container, I suppose, and then draw on what they can to match and coordinate. They're happy to take any unfinished quilts. They're happy to take any pieces that have already been cut out and not put together. They're happy to take any um, quilt squares, anything that you may have that you either no longer want or you don't think you will get to that you would be interested in donating. We would love to hear from you. I would love, love, love to be able to take a carload of fabrics and quilting um, materials to these people and present them with a big list of people who have donated them and let them get about their merry way. So if that sounds like you, let me know and we'll hook up and see if we can arrange something. If you live locally to me here in Lake Macquarie, I can arrange to collect them. However, if you do not live locally, I will need to ask that you, if you're in a position to, that you will need to pay for postage to have them sent to us because I just can't afford to. And these ladies are run out of money as well. They're doing it all out of their own pocket, which is another reason why they're asking for fabrics because they're spent. They've exhausted their resources, and most of these ladies are new to the quilting community, so they don't actually know many of the local quilters or groups. This is another reason I'm reaching out. So since I used to work in a quilt store, I do know some. I have drafted a letter to send to some of the people that I used to work with to see if they'd have any that they can contribute, and we'll go from there. So now, moving on. Um, I haven't been around much, as you know, and I explained earlier one of the reasons why that is. And I haven't been out collecting, mainly because I haven't been well enough, primarily. And secondly, because I just haven't had the money. I just haven't had the money to go out and buy new vintage textiles. However, I have had some gifted to me recently, so I thought I'd share those with you. Um, these are ones I got on Wednesday. This piece is one I actually bought. I paid 20 cents for this. It's just a damask napkin. I've soaked it, washed it, and pressed it, but I thought this would be wonderful in a needlebook. Look at that. So I'm going to add that to my little stash at the moment. This is one, I don't think I shared this. This is one I picked up weeks ago, months ago, maybe even. Where did I find it? Oh, I remember. It was that big, that place down at, what are they called? I can't remember what they're called now. All their profits go to Fiji, I believe, one of the islands, which is wonderful. They've got videos playing showing where it all goes and what it does. But I got this one down there. I believe I paid 50 cents for it. It's an apron, a vintage apron. I have soaked it and washed it, but we still have some stains here. But I just love these fabrics. It's quite rustic, this one. And I have been tempted to deconstruct it and piece it back together just because these don't meet up and it breaks my brain. However, that's all part of the charm, isn't it? So, yeah, the main reason I bought this one was for the fabrics. Some lovely vintage fabrics hidden in here. Look at this one. Yeah, look at that. So yeah, there's that one. That's another one that I picked up a couple of months ago now. There's that one. Then when I walked in, as you're probably aware, when I go to see my doctor once a month, and when I go up there, I try and make time to go to the local op shop there. And when I walked in on Wednesday, the older lady informed me that they had a 50-cent box that she'd only just put out, and it was mainly doilies. So I found a few little bargains in there. I spent a grand total of $4. However, one of the other ladies argued with me and told me that I'd taken things that weren't in the 50-cent basket, which frustrated the snot out of me. I ended up telling them they could keep them because I wasn't prepared to pay $8 a piece when they were advertised at 50 cents. So this was a bag. So this whole bag was 50 cents. It's just bits, you know. I might not use some of it, but some of it I can pass on. I mean, for 50 cents with all this in it, they'd be good for kits, for textile collages, you know. So I think there's 4 of these. So I assume this was going to be part of like a doily or something, possibly to be stitched around a piece of linen. So there's that one. And then from the same place, I got this supper cloth. She's seen better days. She's had a lot of stains. It is machine embroidered. Feels like possibly a cotton linen blend. I don't think it's all cotton. And the funny thing with this, I put this in to soak this one. It needs to go back in. But this thread, this yellow thread, changed colour. It went from yellow to green to then a deep turquoise blue, and I thought I'd buggered it. And then when I took it out and rinsed it and dried it, it's gone yellow again. So I thought that was interesting. That was another one from the 50 cent. Now this one I picked up. This was from my friend's shop actually. Initially I picked this up for myself thinking I'd use it in a project idea that I've got, or that I've seen actually. And then I thought it might be one that Kathleen would like. I don't think it's linen, Kathleen, no. It looks like cotton to me. So I found this one. If it's not something you want, Kathleen, that's fine. I think I will utilise this one. So that's what's been stitched, but the rest of it hasn't been touched. So that's one I picked up. That was not from the 50-cent bucket. That was from a different shop. That one. Then we go back to, I found another supper cloth. This was not 50 cents either. I've ended up with more of these than I realised I had. So this one I'm tossing up. It's interesting, I think I've said it before. I get them inside thinking they're immaculately clean after I've soaked them. I bring them out here in the light. Thought I saw a stain there, but I can't see it now. So this one, when I first saw this, I thought this would be great to utilise these flowers in a like a Fleur Woods sort of inspired stitchery, or how great would that be as a page in a needlebook? So I've got a few ideas for this one, although so far to date I haven't been able to cut any of these up. But yeah, that's another one that came home with me. This one was a gift. This was a gift, this one, from a dear friend. She often, when I call in, she often has a little bag of treasures for me. So I've been trying to work out how to get this to fluff up a bit. I've pressed it and it hasn't worked. I've starched it a little bit, but I think it needs more starch. So I'm assuming this is designed to sort of sit up. Yeah, but I'm still trying to work out what we could use this for. It's quite a heavy, it's a chunky cotton. So holding it up against my hand, you can see it's a bit of a chunky monkey, but still a lovely piece. This is another piece that was in the 50-cent bucket. Now they tried to charge me $8 for this, which I found quite intriguing because anything else similar to this, they usually just give it away. And this one's actually been in the regular basket for months at $6, $6 or $8. I think it actually had $8 on that one. So that was one she challenged me on. So that, as well as that bag of crocheted bits and pieces, it was very stained. I have soaked this. So yeah, that's another one. And again, I thought that could be potentially useful in a needlebook, or lots of uses really. This is another bit. This was in the gifting. It's just a napkin, but it's linen. I did soak it. It didn't have any marks on it I could see, but it's nice and clean. But how good would that be as a base to stitch on? The edging's already been done. Beautiful Italian hem stitch there that someone's done by hand. So there's another piece. These pieces were in the gift bag from my friend. There's this one. And then there's 5 of these, I think. They've all got some damage. The edges have been torn, or so again, I reckon these would make great textured backgrounds for textile collages. 1, 2, 3, 4, 4 of those. Then I've got, this was another one in the gift bag, and she's got a hole here. And again, I have soaked all these. So we've got a hole out of this, but look at these. Oh, that's the back. It's hard to tell through the screen, and I don't have my glasses on. There we go. Look at these beautiful hand crocheted flowers, and they are quite fine, really. So I thought they'd be useful. This is a chunky monkey. I don't tend to utilise these chunky ones. She's hand crocheted. There's the front. But interestingly, oops, I just dropped a bit. Of course I did. Look how she's finished off. That fascinates me. Like, It's all been nicely crocheted, and then we come back to the, and it's got a space here where it was finished off. Might have actually been cut. Here's another chunky monkey that I probably won't use, but interestingly with this one, there's the front of it, it's like a placemat. This centre design is the same as this one. So I'm assuming it's been done by the same lady. Isn't that cool? If you're interested in some of these chunky ones, let me know because I won't use them. Here's another one. This is actually one I've been trying to get stains out for a while. In fact, I think I've had this one for years. They've all come out of the stain bucket, see? This was in the gift bag. And I don't think there's anything wrong with this one. It's a hand, oh, here we go. There's a stain on it, even though I've soaked it. I mean, it could go in and soak again, and that's likely to come out. Again, I currently don't have any use for this one. I have considered dyeing them. I used to dye them, do colour packs. I just haven't stumbled across where I've stored my dyes lately. Potentially I could do that. And I have eco-dyed them before as well, but it takes a lot of time and energy that I currently don't have while I'm not feeling well. Another hand crocheted one. This one here, can you see this blue stain here? I don't know what that is. It's much, much lighter than it originally was after I've soaked it. So I'm guessing this may well come out completely after another good soak. And then here's a matching one. So again, at this point, these are not any that I would utilise myself. So if they may be of interest to you, let me know, or I'll list them in my sale page, my destash page, but the crocheted ones don't seem to budge for some reason. Here's another fine little, now this one was absolutely covered in stains. Had a great big, looks like mould here, you can still see it a bit, and there's rust on it. Now, she looks a bit crook at first glance, but I found these particular pieces, especially with the rust stains, and she has been soaked, the rust, I can never get the rust out. These are perfect pieces for eco dyeing. They come out really well, these ones. So if you're into eco dyeing, now this one, however, I do have a couple of these that I have intentions of using because they're finer. This one has a hole in it though, and I love these little raised flowers on these ones as well. So I reckon these would be great in needlebooks or for backgrounds on textile collages. And then here's another one, it's a bit bigger. So these are still out in my gift bag I was gifted. This one looks in better condition. Now these are sort of an ecru colour, these two. And I do have a couple of white ones inside from years ago as well. Okay, and then I've got these. Now I don't know what I'm going to do with these. So if these might be something that you might be interested in, again, let me know. I've got 4 of them. They're placemats. I've soaked them. They don't appear to have any stains on them, but they all have damage. So see this one here? It's just pulled away from that edge. They've all got some sort of damage like that. So, but apart from that, they're all hand crocheted. They've got the linen inserts in them. Where are we? And considering I'm needing to destash, I don't really want to hang on to these at this point. I don't think, I can't think of an immediate use for them. So they may have to move on. This is another one that came in my gift bag. I have soaked it. It needs to soak again. I love this piece. I'm going to keep this one. Filet lace. It's a little sandwich tray cloth. But yeah, she still needs a bit more stains to come out. But I really love this one. I don't know what it is about these little sandwich tray cloths. and particularly these little filet lace ones. Where's the front? That's the front. Got the rose and the butterflies. I really like that one. Yeah, this is an interesting piece. This came in the gift bag. Now it might just look like a crocheted shape. I've done a bit of research on this because it's had a purpose. And when I googled it, it appears to be, I found a couple that are almost the same. It appears to be a dilly bag. So we've got a little handle here, whoops, look at that. Isn't it fabulous? So that one's going to remain in my collection for now. I thought that was very cool. Cute little dilly bag. Now these are another set of 4 that I got at. These ones I paid a little bit more for. I paid a few dollars for these, but they're beautiful linen. They are hand embroidered. You see the back here. And I have 4 of those because I thought they would be fabulous pages for needle books. I really like those ones. So I've got 4 of those in my new to add to my stash. This is another piece that was in the 50-cent bucket and it was heavily stained. And I brought her home and gave her a bit of love and attention, and I'm in love with it. So she's going to be added to my collection as well. Another little vintage linen fingertip towel. Beautiful. I'm getting really excited about the little linen fingertip towels I have in my collection at the moment. And of course I collect the embroidered ones and the applique ones as well. Now this is something I bought many, many years ago. Pretty sure I bought it at the craft fair in Sydney, probably at Darling Harbour all those years ago. I don't know what it is. It's lined, stain on it. It's lined with, it's just calico. It's got these, see this? It's got a, so that makes me think something slides through it, a belt maybe. Does it hang at the front? But then it's got this pocket that hangs down. So if you know what this is, let me know. It's a Japanese fabric. It feels like cotton. It's not new. It's lined with calico or calico-like fabric, not silk. It's got these bits here where it looks like you slide something through it, possibly a belt. And then it's got this pocket. It just looks a bit like a slightly elongated table mat, placemat. And originally I thought it might make a good needlebook with an inbuilt pocket here, but it's big. Not as big as what you'd use for a quilt block book, but it'd be a bloody big needle book. But anyway, that's another thing that I've unearthed in my stash. So I'll move these pieces out of the way so I don't knock them everywhere. There's another piece here, glorious piece here that came, it was screwed up and it was in the gift bag from my friend and it had some stains on it. And at first I just thought it was a couple of coloured doilies, but check this out. I'm absolutely in love with this. I reckon it would be glorious on the back of a denim jacket. It needs some repairs, but that's okay. See if I can actually fit it in the screen. Look at this. So isn't it glorious? Crocheted butterfly. It's not new. I would hazard a guess at least 70s, maybe even older. There is this orange cotton on the outer edge has some glitter in it, so a fine gold thread in it. It even has little antenna crocheted on here. Here we go, a couple of little antennae. But yeah, she needs a little bit of repairing, but that's okay. It's nothing major. We just need to reattach the wings to the butterfly, really. And I think it's absolutely glorious. I love it. I showed my daughter and she said, oh my God, it's horrific. It's horrible. But I think it's wonderful vintage kitsch. And I love it. I think it's absolutely glorious. So that's another thing that came in my gift bag from my friend. Now, what else did I want to show you? Oh, I found this the other day that I had to buy. But the problem when I buy these, I buy them to make up little packs to sell. But often I fall so deeply in love with some of these that I don't want to part with them, but I can't keep them all. Look at this. Isn't it glorious? Oh, an old handmade cotton bedspread. That would be interesting. Are you repairing it or embellishing it? So yeah, look at this vintage tin. I don't think it's ridiculously old, not like the 1920s sweet tin I had recently. Ah, repairing it. That'd be a lot of work, I reckon, if it's anything like the ones I've got. I often get things like that, tablecloths, bedspreads, and think, I'm going to repair this. Who am I kidding? I mean, technically I could. It's just I've got so many other things I want to do as well. I struggle to focus on one thing at a time, I think. So yes, this is another glorious treasure I found this week. Now, before I do stitching, I thought I would share with you some of my treasures in my personal collection. Oh, but first, this is something I've come across in my stash recently. A Susan, vaguely, I'm sorry, I don't know. I'm having terrible trouble remembering what I did 5 minutes ago at the moment. I'm sure if you remind me or message me, it'll come back to me. I apologise that my memory is not great at the moment. Yeah, it's something, the penny will drop though, I'm sure. So this is a placemat that was made years ago. And I've been wondering if I could, Wisconsin. Oh, it's slowly, there's little bits coming back. Yeah, I vaguely remember. As soon as you said Wisconsin, I can't remember what we spoke about though, but oh, dreadful. Sorry, I've had that much stress in the last week or so, or last 6 weeks actually, that my brain is fried. So I was wondering whether I could turn this into a needlebook. I'm not sure, not entirely convinced yet it will work. And then if I do, should that be the cover or should that be the cover? But anyway, I've got this. I've dug out a couple of fabrics that might work with it. I don't have many fabrics left because, as I mentioned earlier, I've been donating them to this quilting project that there's been working on. And I found this square that I'd done as well that might be able to go in it. So there's that. There's another thing I've been thinking about. And then of course that's my tilde I'm after, if anyone has any of that they can bear to part with. This is another Needlebook cover I started months ago, maybe even 12 months ago. Oh goodness, sorry. Just dropped something and all the way over the other side. This is a beautiful vintage, I think actually this might be a violin. It's got, I believe it has some wool in it. So I didn't have much of this, it was just a sleeve that had been cut out, but I love the fabric. So I've cut this piece out to start quilting it, and then I've set it aside because I haven't been able to find any fabric or embroidery to put in it yet. But then I found this piece, which I've actually done another, I put some of this in a kit, Needlebook kit a while ago. So that could potentially work in it. So that's something else I've been contemplating. And then I forgot to share, I did get this recently, this little vintage trim. Not sure what I'm going to do with it, but they tend to come in handy, especially for this sort of vintage era textile. For the needle books, that might work. The colour's not bad actually. So that's another thing that I've had recently. And a lot of this stuff is just coming from my stash I've been digging. Now I don't know if you remember, I bought some stuff. I wanted another fabric to put in my vintage cut a quilt needle book that I started. The blue one some time ago. I bought a kit from Beck. It's so big, I've been adding to it and playing with it. I wanted another fabric. I found this beautiful firm textiles fabric that will work well in it. So I bought some of that, and then I thought I'd like to send some of that to my daughter. So I went back a week later and bought some for her. But while I was there, I ended up buying it in the pink as well. They had some beautiful colours. They have a grey, a teal, aqua colour. Yeah, and then I've got some wool felt, just bits I've been pulling. I've been trying to put together kits for myself because I want to finish some more needle books. And then I came across this piece of wool suiting that could potentially work with it. So now I don't know if this is going to go in that cut a quilt needle book or create another one. I might even have to go and buy a little bit more of that fabric. I'm trying not to buy new fabric. And then of course I've got this tiny little bit of Liberty with Hello Kitty on it. I think this is the largest piece of Liberty I own, and look at it. And I did send my daughter some of that as well. I sent her the larger piece. So, and then, oh, there's another, that's all I've got of this piece of Tilda as well. And then I found this vintage bias that I've had for years. And I want to use that on something as well. I love that. So there's that little update as well. Now, I thought I'd share some of my precious doilies with you from my collection that at this point I'm not prepared to part with. I pull on these sometimes for the needle books I make. Sometimes I just look at them and stroke them. And so I've got this little, is this machine embroidered? No, it's hand stitched, my goodness. Give me a moment, guys. I'm going to get my glasses out. I'm struggling to see. I tell you what, it's absolutely freezing here today. So I am outside because the light's much better. So this is one of my precious items. Now, I couldn't tell you where I got all these from. I've been collecting for years. This is hand stitched. Look at it, it's beautiful. Absolutely immaculate, that stitching. That's the back. Isn't it amazing? So it's just a little tray mat, I think. It's folded in half still. So that's the first piece from my little treasures that I thought I'd share. I've got a few here. Some of these I've had out auditioning for Needlebooks. This may have been one that came in a kit from Beck. I'll have to go back through my photos. I can't remember. This poor one's seen better days. I've got, but the actual linen and embroidery are in quite decent condition. So this potentially can just be repaired. I just unpick that little bit and recrochet it. Here's another little. This one's been pulled out many times to be auditioned in Needlebooks. It's just cute little, look at those little hand-stitched flowers. But that edging's not one of my favourite. Oh, hang on. I thought, let me have a closer look, guys. Yes, I was correct the first time. That's a woven lace that has been sewn on. I prefer crocheted edges on these sorts of pieces. I mean, it's not horrible or anything, but I'm a bit fussy like that. So it might be one of the things that subconsciously stops me from putting it in the needlebook. Here's another treasure. Now these guys were mass produced, however, they are still hand stitched. It's a lovely piece for a needlebook. And these ones I bought from my cousin's shop a few months ago. I think I ended up with 4 large ones and 4 napkins. These are big placemats. I've already put 2 in my large cutter quilt book. One is a liner, and I've got one I've been stitching on for the pouch that I'm making, the zippered pouch. Yeah, so I think they're absolutely stunning, and I think I'll use one of the napkins from this in the Tilda pouch I'm doing. I bought a pouch kit from Beck. I don't know how. I've lost the lining piece. I don't know what I've done with it. I can't find it anywhere that came in the kit, so I think I've decided I'm going to use one of these instead. And instead of folding the piece of Tilda in half like the pattern says to, I might, if the zipper's big enough, I haven't checked yet, I might keep it open and double the size of the pouch. Now this one was a recent gift from my daughter. She told me to hang on to this one because she thought it was so unusual, and I agree it is. I do have another piece similar, but I just love these. See these raised needle turned sections? They're quite amazing. It's all done by hand. And again, these would have been mass produced in the 60s and 70s. This is another one that's been getting pulled out a bit lately for auditioning. This is only, I can't remember if this was from a kit from Beck or if it was from one I bought from Nairi or if it was one I bought from my cousin. I can't remember. Probably should take better records of where some of these come from. This is another one that's come from my collection. Now, I dug this one out the other day because I thought it would make a great page in a needlebook or as great zippered pouch for a needlebook. Hand embroidered tray mat. That one. Now these are precious fabrics I've been coveting. These are Sanderson, and I believe they're likely from the 20s. And I have such small amounts of these. Not only do I not want to share them at this point, I don't even want to cut them up to do my own projects, but look at this beautiful linen. I bought this piece from a lady at Islington. So absolutely adore that. And then this next piece I bought at the op shop for 50 cents. It was screwed up. It was covered in stains, and it's the tiniest little bit, but it's another Sanderson. And again, I believe this is probably from the 20s or 30s, and I just absolutely adore it. And I want to make something really special with this. I couldn't believe it when I found it. You're knitting mini little monsters. Oh, that'd be interesting. I'll have to let me know if you've posted them anywhere on your Instagram or your YouTube. And I'll have to make a point, Susan, to go and have a look, because my mother has been knitting little dolls and she donates them. She used to knit the dolls for the Red Cross, for the, we used to be in emergency services. And now she's been knitting these little comfort dolls and she donates them to the aged care facility and a few other places. So I'd be interested to see your little knitted dolls. But look at this beautiful vintage Sanderson linen. I absolutely adore this, and I think this is one of my most precious pieces in my collection. I've only got the smallest little bit, not even half a metre, and yeah, I just adore that one. I'm always on the lookout for vintage Sanderson, and so far that's all I've found that's in my price range anyway. This is something I just thought I'd share. This is many, many years ago, before I even got a job at the quilt store. The same lady used to sell these amazing, like I'm talking 25 years ago. I think I was in high school when she first started selling them. These amazing hand-dyed wool fabrics. And this is a piece that I still have. I used to have a few different colours and I hardly have any left, but I absolutely adore this. And I did put a piece of this in a kit recently that has sold in a Needlebook kit. So if you got that Needlebook kit, you were very special. So yes, that's another piece that's been unearthed from my stash. And then this piece, and I've only got this piece. It's not hand dyed. It's just a piece of wool. And interestingly enough, it's the same colour as a piece that came in a kit from Beck recently. So I was pretty chuffed with that. Not that it matters, but if I wanted a bit more, I've got a bit more there. Okay, let's get back to some from my collection. This is a table runner. Look at that. Hand embroidered. Look at these blue flowers. Aren't they gorgeous? I thought they're done with grub bullions. Oh wow, you knit hats for the babies at the hospital and give hats to the food pantries. That's amazing. I spin fibre as well. I haven't done any yet this winter because I've been busy with other stuff. And I was doing beanies to donate, and I've lost my train of thought. I'm sorry. My goodness, this is my brain lately. Yeah. Okay. Well, I'll have to catch up with you when I finish the video, Susan. I'll go looking for you and we'll chat a bit more, hey? Again. So this is a table runner I've been hanging on to. It does have some... Now I can either darn this, repair it, or sometimes there's some stains on it, but they might come out. These have been stored for quite a while. These are good ones to cut up for applique as well, but I don't feel as guilty when they're damaged cutting them up. If they're not damaged, I don't think I've cut any yet that aren't damaged. Here's another one from my Look at this. Not my colours, but this is stunning. Look at that. Oh, hand embroidered. Absolutely. And the crocheted edge on this. Look at that. Back's almost as good as the front again. There's someone around has either some perfume on or they're cleaning and it smells quite nice. Here's another little one, little tray mat. Got a bit of fluff on it. This has one of those needle woven laces sewn on. I don't know what my bias is against these. I mean, I love the laces on their own, but I don't love them as much when they've been attached to doilies and things. I've noticed recently some of the doilies actually come with it already attached. Well, they used to, probably in the 50s, 60s, I suppose. There's another little easel, not a fancy stitchery, but incredibly effective, that one. Here's another one from my collection, another lovely linen. Now this, I love the embroidery on this. Absolutely gorgeous. Look at that sheen. But the edge baffles me. It's just been turned and hemmed, hand hemmed, and then it's got this funny, I mean, I get it, but it just baffles me that they put so much work into the embroidery and then they do this funny, maybe this person wasn't able to crochet. Here's another one, not the most beautiful of stitching. I mean, it's beautifully stitched, but I've seen one done with variegated cotton. Those leaves are done differently, chain stitch. Quite a pretty one, that one. It's got, you can see it's got stains and holes. And so these particular ones I'm showing you now are some of the ones, I mean, it's probably half of them. I don't have a massive collection. These are the ones that I keep in my, I've got a box and they just fill the box. In fact, I've got one of the boxes here. They're not big boxes. They're plastic crate things. And they're stored in there. And I go through them from time to time when I'm looking for something for a needlebook or a particular project. And yeah, these are the ones that I've hung on to for my own. Here's another one. This is we've got fans. Beautifully stitched again on linen. This is a pretty one. I don't stain on that. But I've been collecting birds and Australian native I've been collecting. So I've only just recently started collecting Australian native. I think I bought a koala from Nairi recently that I love. And I bought a tablecloth a couple of months ago. It wasn't very expensive, a linen tablecloth, supper cloth, a little bit larger than a supper cloth. And it wasn't very expensive, so I grabbed it without looking at it. And I was going to on-sell it until I realised what was on it. It's got Australian native birds and flowers on it. So that's gone into my collection. It's stunning. This one I've had for years, years and years and years. I don't know where it came from. I don't know if it was from a family member, but I've had her for years. Very pretty, hand stitched again. It's trying very hard to rain here. The temperature's just dropped again. Another one, this is beautiful linen, this, but the stitching's quite chunky. I don't go in that much for chunky stitching. Look at that. It is very effective though. Looks like they've used all 6 strands. Beautiful. This one, I love this one, and I think I might have a small one. This may have been part of a Duchess set. I can't remember now. Another one I've had for years. but they look like little, they remind me a bit of jacaranda trees. Obviously they're not. Thank you, Susan. They are gorgeous, aren't they? And as I mentioned earlier, I have been collecting since I was a kid. Um, I think my grandmother originally got me interested in them, and then my aunt. And I don't know, I've always had a soft spot for vintage textiles and antiques. My grandmother was a dressmaker, so she had some amazing vintage textiles and laces. She used to specialize in wedding gowns, and she also used to work at David Jones. So I'm pretty sure she's the one that got me into all this in the first place. And she used to do handiwork. She used to do, embroideries like this. She used to stitch them, and she used to do knitting and crochet and all this sort of stuff. So this is what got me started. Now this next piece my aunt gave me recently, and she can't remember if my grandmother stitched it or my great aunt stitched it. So this one is a keeper. It's got the lady at the table. Some hollyhocks in behind her, and the Scotty dog there begging. So that's a special piece, that one. This is a placemat I got probably last year, I think, for 50 cents, but it's beautiful. It's linen. It's machine stitched, but it's got, look at that. Isn't it fabulous? I could not leave that there for 50 cents. Love it. It's actually hand stitched. I thought it was machine stitched. That's all done by hand. Oh my gosh. Look at the front of it. Look how fine it is. That's amazing. It's so much, it's interesting how much more clearly I can see outside compared to inside. I've got this one. This is another one I've had for years. It's folded in half. It's got a tattered edge on it, this one. Beautiful. It's very fine, this linen. And then this guy, this is like a toaster cover or a kettle cover thing. Feels like cotton, this one. Very pretty. Of course, it's embroidered on both sides. I've got a few of these in this sort of colour that a lot of people don't seem to be attracted to, but I quite like them. And I still think, look, this unfortunately has some holes in it. But I reckon these would be great in needlebooks as well. Look at that. I think they're quite pretty. There's some eyelet work, all hand embroidered. Lovely little the scalloped edges. Oops, it got a bit crumpled up. Now all these pieces, I don't know if I've mentioned, I have over the years soaked them. Well, not all of them. Some of the older pieces that I've dug out recently from my stash haven't been. But I usually soak them, hand wash them. Sometimes they go in a lingerie bag in the gentle cycle in the machine. Dry them flat in the shade. They probably should go out in the UV light, some of them, to remove those stains more effectively. And then I starch them with a 1950s starch that I have, and press them and then pack them away in my box. This is another one of that colour that I was talking about, cut work, hand embroidered. As I said, I've got a few of these, but these are some of the nicer ones that I'm showing you. This one's pretty. This is all hand stitched again. Look at that. Very pretty, that one. Some cut work happening again. And this is another one that was mass produced in the 60s and 70s, but it's still hand stitched and quite a pretty little. These are great for the needle books, these guys. Just don't come across as many of these as I thought I would, given, every now and then you see them. And these ones, I've only got 2 of these. This one's the better of the 2. But I'm always looking for these guys now. Got a yellow one. The yellow one's not as in good condition and it doesn't have as much applique on it. It just has a flower at each end. But yeah, I'm always on the lookout for these now. I found one the other day at the second-hand shop. It was in the cabinet under a piece of china. And I asked if it was for sale and the lady said, I don't know. That was it. That was the end of the conversation. Okay, this is another one I've had for many, many, many years. One of my original pieces. And of course, it is a Duchess set. So I have the 3 pieces. Now, originally, when I first started collecting these pieces, I had the intention of using them to decorate my home because I always thought I would have a vintage themed home. That hasn't happened. Hopefully when I move that will take place. So this is another one I've had for many, many, many years. This bird. I absolutely love birds and animals. Always have. I used to collect birds and animals as a kid too. My father wouldn't allow them, so I used to rescue them. So they used to get placed under my bed in my bedroom. Mum knew, or she had an idea most of the time, but I used to rescue animals and I'd take them up to the vet and he'd tell me what I had to do and fix them. And then I'd bring them back home and look after them until they were ready to let go, to be released. I mean, you can't do that these days. It's not legal, but that's what we used to do. Here's another Duchess that I've had for many, many years. And in fact, at one stage, we had a turtle living in our bathtub for about 3 years at Mum and Dad's. And he used to get taken out every side every day for exercise and sunshine and whatnot, but he lived in the bathtub. Had snakes under the bed and birds and all sorts of things. So this is another piece I've had for many, many years. Beautiful embroidery. And again, this is a Duchess set. There's that one. And then this one I got last year, I believe, from a lady in Newcastle. Every piece I got from her was very, very heavily stained. And given that, I think she charged a bit too much for them because there was no guarantee the stains would come out. But most of the stains I did get out. And the other thing that I've noticed happens too, if they're very heavily stained when you treat them, sometimes where those stains are, the fabric dissolves. My dog just came up to the front door and shook, and I've got headphones in, and it scared the crap out of me. I didn't know if there was a bird flapping behind me or what was happening. So yeah, this is one of those pieces. And then this I assume was a Duchess set, but I've only got 2 pieces. Don't know where this came from, but it's one of my favourites. And there's one of the smaller pieces that go with it. So water lilies is another theme that I look for, as well as Chinese themed or Asian themed, because my mother's family is Chinese. And I've got a lot of Chinese antique furniture. I often look for Chinese themed linen. This is another one from my collection. Now, this is a Duchess set. She's a bit worn. I think this one I only acquired in the last year or so. I can't remember. This is a Duchess set, but currently one of these is in a needlebook I'm working on. It hasn't been put in yet. It's just sitting in there as an option. So yeah, that one. Losing the light already and it's getting very cool. Here's another one. These, I've only got the two of these, but oh no, they're different. Sorry, I apologise. These are one of my favourites again. Look at that. And then I like the next one again. How many of these am I saying? This is one of my favourites. Bloody all of them at this rate. Look at the, isn't that beautiful? Look at the crocheted edge on that. Look at the back. It's that one. Now this one I've had for years. I think from memory this was a Duchess set and it disintegrated, the large piece. And I used the other small piece about 5 years ago in a journal. And I've got this one left, but there's something about it. It's very fine. It's stained. There's something about it I love. I don't know what it is. Certainly not my colours, but yeah, it's so fine. It feels like a tissue. Don't know what it is about that one. Now these, again, another two of my favourites, and I can't remember where I got these from. Look at that. I love this one. I'm coveting this one, that's for sure. And the next one as well. Oh, my ankle. Sorry, I'm standing up. Water lily. I love that one. Look at those stitches. Beautiful. These two, I think these came from the lady that had all the stained ones from memory. Look at that stitching. There's a pair of these. There's that nice smell again. Someone's doing something. I wonder if they'd like to come and clean my house for me. I had 3 of these. One of them was so full of holes it was barely hanging on, and I used it in a needlebook, one of my first needlebooks actually. And then I've got another one inside that's got some holes in it, but this one's, I think, pretty well intact, and I really like this one. Love the colours they've used. I've seen this one done. It's a bit of a stain in there. I've seen this one done in different colours, and I didn't like it at all, but look, that one's very pretty. Another, this one's another very, very fine one. Feels like tissue. Look at it. You can see how see-through it is. It's very pretty. Look at how neatly they've been stitched. This one's a bit worn out, but again, one of my favourites, maybe because it's the blue and white, like the Chinese willow pattern. I mean, it's not that, but it reminds me of that. It's a little bit rustic in its design. That's another one of my favourites. And then I actually have a willow pattern one here. Love this. I grew up with this. My great uncle, not this piece, my great uncle raised my mum, and so did my uncle. And there used to be an image of the blue willow hanging in their dining room. I can't remember if it was a tea towel. Can't remember. But I used to sit and look at it for hours, hours on end. And I've just been drawn to it ever since. I actually got a tablecloth recently with it on. And this is another piece I love, and I reckon this would be beautiful in a needlebook, but I just haven't been able to come at using it. It's just a little trim mat. This is all hand done, needle woven by hand. Absolutely exquisite. Look at that. So that's another of my treasured little pieces. I was going through a lot of trouble to make that one. This is the one I was talking about earlier that I think I bought from Nairi. Absolutely love it. Look at that. I love that. Beautiful colours. It's interesting. I believe this is a Sturt's Desert Pea, and they're not that colour. They're red. But I love that they've done it. And this looks like it's done in the correct colours. That's a Christmas bell. I can't remember what else we call it. And that looks like either a gum blossom or a pincushion hakea. But yeah, it's interesting that the Sturt's Desert Pea is done in purple, but I love it. Absolutely love it. Love the colours. She's pulled away a bit down here. Oh, there's a stain. I thought I saw some pull away. Must be imagining things. Yeah, absolutely love that piece. This one's got some issues, but it's another one that I love. It's got the bluebird. Look how delicate he is. It's a bit threadbare. Got some holes and some stains. It's very fine. Has a beautiful tattered edge, but look, she's looking a bit tatty. Yeah, there's another piece that I love. Again, more that I love. Look at this one. This one I've had for years. Basket. She's a bit threadbare as well. Another basket. And I've got, can't remember where this one came from, whether it was recent or out of my old stash. I've got this garden here that opens up to this little cottage. Isn't it beautiful? I love that one. I watch people with these linens and they just cut them up and whack them into their projects and stitch over them, and I'd love to be able to do that. I can't come at just Kate in the Nest. It astounds me. She just happily goes along and creates these amazing, beautiful pieces. And look at this one. Isn't it gorgeous? Okay, we're getting towards the end. I mean, this isn't my whole collection, obviously, but just the ones I brought out to share with you. I think this is one my daughter sent me recently. I love the variegated, bit chunky, got some stains. That's a lovely one. This is a bit of a precious one for me. I don't come across things like this often. It's just a tray mat, I think. It's hand embroidered. We open her up. And we've got a teacup. So I quite love that one as well. And then these are more recent acquisitions that I absolutely love. I've looked for these sorts of pieces for years and never came across any until recently. And I've just noticed this one has a dog drool on it, which is a recent acquisition as well, because that was clean when I put it away. Look at that. I love that. Another bluebird. There's the dog drool that's been flicked across it. I'll have to wash that off because it's quite acidic, that dog drool. And we open her up. Got some stains in here. But love that one. Love these hanky holders. I'm always on the lookout for them. I only have a couple. Then I found this one. It actually had some damask serviettes in it. And this is the Boy Scout logo, I believe, or Girl Guide. I think it's the Boy Scout. I did look it up because it looked familiar. That crochet edge is on backwards, which bugs me. Yeah, I love that one. Love these sorts of things. And I've got this linen one that I've had for years. I think this one was my grandmother's from memory. and it's, I believe it's machine stitched, this one. No, it's not actually, it's hand stitched, I apologise. It's beautiful. And I've got this one. This is a more recent one in the last 12 months. Beautiful stitching and beautiful crocheted edge. But it looks like when you put it with the other linen, it's got a blue hue to it. So it looks like it's had a colour run incident, that one. And then these came out of my cave of vintage textile stash I haven't seen for years and years and years. I don't even remember buying this, but I absolutely adore it. It's a Duchess set. I've never seen anything like it. And then on the other side we've got, look at that. It's absolutely divine. And then we've got these two. Look at that. Don't you just love them? They did have stains on them, and there's a tiny bit of damage on one or two of them, but I think they're absolutely gorgeous. I have never seen, I don't remember buying these, but they've come from one of my rooms that I haven't been through for years. And so obviously I've bought them, don't remember them, but I think they're absolutely wonderful. And I've never seen fish before, so they're very cool. And I've got this, and I think this was my grandmother's from memory. Beautiful heavy linen, hand stitched for shoes. Look at that border edge. Isn't it divine? And it's such a beautiful heavy linen, it almost feels like a canvas. This is part of a Duchess set my daughter sent recently. The large one is very damaged, it's full of holes, but these two are in quite good condition, and I've currently put one in a Needlebook I'm working on auditioned it in there. This is another little one I think she sent, all hand stitched. Little sandwich. I'm always looking for sandwich tray cloths. They're getting more and more difficult to find, and I absolutely adore them. They're great for needlebooks. I don't know if I've actually used any yet. I can't come at it. This one needs another good soak, but look at this linen, it's divine. I'm not sure if this is a napkin or a hanky. It seems to be more of a handkerchief to me. I think this is there. That's machine stitched, that one. But it's absolutely beautiful. And I've got these quirky ones. I'm often looking out for the pansies or the swans. So one of these I've actually deconstructed already because it was damaged. So I've deconstructed it to use the pansies on other pieces. I've used one on the pinch pot I started, I think. And here's another one. I love these coloured ones. So I buy these if I ever see them. If they're in good condition, I keep them intact. If they're damaged, I deconstruct them. I think this is another one my daughter sent recently, but I thought that would be good in a Needlebook. Look at that. Lovely, fine stitching. I think from memory it's had a funny, yeah, it has a funny end off it where it started and ended. This is another one my daughter sent recently, which I absolutely adore. Look at that hand crocheted edge. And it's so fine. It's beautiful. Okay, and some more pieces that I've had for many, many, many years. These came out of my had it for years stash. Beautiful tray cloth. got a vague feeling there may have been matches for these, but I don't know where they are. This one is stunning. Look at that. Again, these are ones I've had for years and years and years. Another one. Look at this one. Beautiful. It's a beautiful apricot colour, this linen. And then look at the crochet edge they've done. It's got the two-tone. Another beautiful one. And then we're nearly done, guys. This one, crocus. Again, these are all from ones I've had for years and years and years. Beautiful linen, this one. And this has its mates for the Duchess set. Crikey. Another one. Beautiful. I think this is the last one I've got out here to show you today. Probably thinking, thank goodness for that. Look at that. Beautiful. So there's a bit of an insight into some of my precious collection. I do have, I've got another bucket out here I was going to show you, but I think I might leave it for another day. And it's got my, it's got all my either unfinished linens or stamped linens that haven't been started in. So that's just an example. Also got these images, transfers I got from Nairi. Here's another one. Here's one I've been actually working on. So this is the same as that one I showed you earlier, but someone else has embroidered this, and I was going to finish the embroidery and the crochet edge on it. But yeah, I've got, it's all this sort of stuff in this bucket, but I might show you those another day because there's a lot in there. Probably nearly double what I've just gone through with you. But they're more of my special collection. This is one I bought recently. Look at this. This is a kit. Now, I remember when I was at Guild, I used to go to Guild with this lady that designed this, and I couldn't afford to buy this at the time. It was quite expensive. I did adore it. It's a, I don't know how to, it is a teapot cozy. It's wool, and it's all wool embroidered, and it was designed by Adele Richards. And she came to Guild and taught us this class, but I couldn't afford to do it at the time. So a few months ago, when I was in my friend's shop, I saw this kit, and not knowing what it was, it just says unfinished kit, and I could see it had stuff in it. I assumed it was not all there, I bought this for $9 from my friend, and everything's there. It's already been, all the hard work's been done. It's already been tacked, the outline on the wall. Some of the embroidery has been started, and everything is there to complete it. So it had to come home with me. I'm going to finish that. It's beautiful. And from memory, when we did this class, it'd have to be close to 20 years ago, I reckon. It would have cost, back then, I reckon at least $70, just for the $50 to $70, I assume, to do the class. But the kit would have been close to at least $100 more. And there's things in that kit that would not have come in the standard kit. So not all of this would have come in the kit. These cottons certainly wouldn't have. Yeah, so I was really stoked with that. I'm just going to sit down for a minute, guys, because my ankles are screaming. Oh, goodness gracious. So, I can't believe how much I've shown you already. I didn't plan on taking this long. So, as I mentioned earlier, I haven't been around much, but I have been doing things in the background. So, for the most part, I've been trying to let my body heal a bit. I pushed myself and pushed myself and pushed myself so much, leading up to Willow's surgery and then after her surgery, because there were complications that we didn't expect. And she was incredibly unwell. It wasn't looking good there for a while, and as a result, I pushed myself even harder to look after her. And then when about 2 weeks after her surgery, which was about a month ago now, 3 weeks ago, and when I realised that she was going to be okay, I had a whole body reaction. So I ended up becoming very unwell. I couldn't stop vomiting. I couldn't stop shaking. My pain levels went through the roof. Um, the doctor just keeps saying it's the fibromyalgia. I think there's a bit more to it than that. I've had a lot of gastrointestinal issues, and that's, I don't eat red meat. I don't eat gluten. There's a lot of things I don't eat that I avoid. But anyway, I've been quite unwell. I've been having a lot of tests. We did think that it was perimenopause. I had all the symptoms of that. But I also started getting loss of feeling in my feet, in the front of my feet, up to my toes, and mouth ulcers, and chunks of hair falling out, and a few other things as well. So it turns out it's not menopause, but my vitamin D levels, my folate levels were, my folate levels didn't even give a reading. They're that low. My vitamin D is not much better. My calcium's very low, and my B12's low again. Now, I've had trouble with these ongoing for years, and we've just sort of been, and my iron level's always low, and a few other things as well. We've just sort of been managing them, but it's gotten to the point where it's causing me a lot of health issues now. So I have been trying to let my body rest and heal a bit. I've had to change my diet again and add a lot of vitamins and minerals and things. But I have also been trying to get some stitching done behind the scenes. I've also been trying to get together some more stuff to list on my D-slash page. There's a lot here. I've just been too fatigued to get it done. But I've been working on this denim jacket, this old jacket I had. I've given her a good wash and soak. And I was going to just add a piece of vintage tablecloth to the back of it. That was all I was going to do. And then it's sort of changed from doing that to adding some vintage textiles behind it and doing a bit of a textile collage, I suppose. And then when I was watching, is it Cassia Avery yesterday, and her beautiful Polish embroidery, she had done some feather stitch on her blouse. And I said, I might add some of that to the jacket. So I've started doing that. So it's grown into this big, larger than life project now. So this was originally, I was just going to add this bit of salvage tablecloth to the back of it. It's just going to be that. And then I've ended up adding these vintage, beautiful fabrics. I am going to stitch all these down with a cancer style running stitch. I'm going to put a blanket stitch all the way around this. I did a repair on this. I made it visible because it had torn away, like it had frayed, and I wanted it to look purposeful, I suppose. So I've done a needle woven repair there to hold it all together. Then I've started adding this feather stitch along the seams up here. It's all in a pale pink. And then on the front, I've decided to added this bit on the front here. So you can see here the stitching, the running stitch I've been doing on the fabrics. That's what I'm going to do on the back. That's another piece of that rescued tablecloth. And then of course the feather stitch, and I think I'll do the feather stitch around the pocket as well. I've done it around the collar. Not sure if I'm going to do it around the cuffs because I'm going to stitch on some crocheted trim from the tablecloth onto the cuff. I'll see if I've got this here to show you what I mean. Looking for what I've done with that. Okay, so maybe I won't show you that because I don't know what I've done with it. I've got these crocheted bits that I've rescued from the tablecloth that I want to put around the cuffs as well. I'm also going to stitch some encouraging words or verses or something into the inside of the jacket so they're not visible, they're only visible to the person wearing them. So I'm going to do that as well. That was another thing that Cassia did on hers. So yeah, this denim jacket's turned into a big project. Now, if you like what you see so far, this jacket will be for sale because it's not my size. And I've relocated I didn't like where the tag was. It was in the middle at the back. So I've taken it out and I've relocated. So yeah, that's something I'm working on. I've been trying to get that finished so I can list it for you guys if anyone's interested. My bloody earphone keeps falling out. Earbud. So that's something I've been working on. I've also been putting together, these are from me, these are my kits that I've been putting together. These are needlebooks I'm doing. So this is a piece of fabric I bought from Beck. I sent some of that to my daughter. And I had this was in my stash that I've had for years. This little bottle apron. What are they called? I looked them up. They weren't exactly what I thought they were. And it actually looks like, I thought this was from about the 70s. My research is telling me that it's more likely from the 30s, 20s or 30s. So that little apron I thought I'd put into this needle book. And then I've just been pulling bits that I could potentially pull together to make this needle book. some vintage yo-yos. I've got this vintage cross stitch in behind there that I pulled from my collection that I thought would go in the book, and some lace. So that's one that I've started putting together. Oh, that was from... This is another one. This is part of a kit. So I got a kit from Beck. This was the green. This is, no, it's not green, but this was the green vintage silk kimono, and this silk was in there as well. And I actually think there was enough in there to do a second needle book. So this is what this is. I've started pulling bits to create another needle book. This piece of linen in the back was in the kit, so is this bit of wool. But I've added some threads. I've added some for these flowers, a doily, and just bits and pieces I had that would hopefully pull that silk together to create a needle book that I am doing. And then this is that gorgeous Tilda fabric I got from Thorpe's recently, this bit here. I've started quilting it to create a needle book, and then I've pulled all these other bits and pieces to put in it. I've pulled this, the zippers are there because I'm going to add a zippered pouch to this one. There's some pink felt from Thorpe's, that's wool felt. That's salvaged from a tablecloth. I don't know if that will work or not, but I've put that there. Some vintage yo-yos to put in it. Some doilies that might work. This tray cloth in the back I might use for the zippered pouch, I'm not sure yet. So that's an option for that one. I've also got, so this is the green that came in the green as well. So this is from Beck, the green needlebook kit. So there's that vintage green silk kimono, and I've added some more pieces that might work in there. The green wool came from Beck. I think that pink flower might have been in the kit. Most of the other stuff you can see, that was in the kit, that blue colour. Most of the other stuff there I've added. That blue linen in the back there was from a kit. That's where that other bluebird doily is. It might go in there. And then this might be used to create a zippered pouch yet. I'm not sure yet. So that's some more I've pulled for that needle book. And then I've got another beautiful bit of Tilda that I bought from Thorpe's recently. These are not my colours, but oh my god, I love this. I actually think, I want to go and buy more of this colour and the blue and make myself a blouse with it, I think. I love it if I can save enough money. And here's some more pieces I've pulled for this needle book. And again, I've got zippers in there, so I'm hoping to add a zippered pouch or a zippered pocket or something. Probably a pouch would be best. There's that one. And then, of course, I've also got my this vintage silk one kit that I bought from Beck. So I've already stitched the cover for that, and I've started putting it together. But I've also pulled some other pieces from my collection to add to it, including this doily here. Most of this one is from the kit, most of the supplies in this. Yeah, so that one, I need to finish that one. And then, of course, there's my blue cutter quilt needle book I've been doing, and that was originally a kit from Beck, and I've been adding and adding and adding to this one. I've worked out I've got to put them all in these bags or I forget what I'm doing and I lose bits and pieces. And so that's what I've been doing. I also found this in my stash the other day, and I'm thinking Let me pull it out to show you. So I did this years ago, and of course didn't finish it. This is it Bonnie and Camille? These fabrics. Look at these tiny little hexagons. And I've got this hanger. So I'm assuming from looking at this, I was going to make a little mini hexi quilt. But what I'm thinking now is I finish this little hexi quilt and then use it as some sort of component in this needlebook. So that's my thoughts on that. Don't know what yet, don't know how I'm going to do it, but I'm starting to think I might use that as a component in that needlebook. What else? Now that I've dragged all this stuff outside to show you, I've got to drag it all back inside again. Oh, here's the bits for the jacket I was talking about. Now let me put these away, or out of the way at least. And this is what I'm thinking with the jacket sleeves. And again, I'm not sure how I'm going to pull this off, but a bit of rescued crochet from the tablecloth. And my thought is to somehow attach this to the cuff of the sleeve on the jacket. So I've been hand hemming, rolling the hem on this. And then, yeah, that's my thoughts with that so far. And that's why I don't think I'll do the fly stitch on there, because I think it might be okay, but I'm wondering if doing that, then the fly stitch all the way around might be a bit too much. It's going to cover it anyway. So yeah, that's the idea with that. And I think at the moment, I've got all these other projects I want to start. I've started actually writing down what I'm doing and what I want to do, because I'm getting so distracted. And I'm one of those people that I can rarely concentrate on one project at a time. And there's two reasons for that I'm aware of. One reason is that I get very bored doing the same thing repetitively all the time, so I have to keep challenging my brain to do different things. The other reason is because I come up with another idea, and so I don't forget this idea, I start on the next project. So I've got potentially hundreds of projects I've started. You've probably seen me show you some of the embroidered things that I've been digging out as I'm clearing out my stash over the last couple of months. I've also been finding quilts that I've started that I've not finished. So far, I think I'm up to about 15 quilts or quilt kits that I've got that I've started when I was working at the quilt shop. And so I'd like to finish those. I will donate some of them. Oh, this is another thing I'm working on. This was one of those little pouch kits I bought from Beck at So Be. This is what I was talking about, the bit of liberty. I'm hand quilting this. Now the idea was in the kit to make a pouch about this big. I'm thinking, because I've lost the lining, I don't know what the hell I've done with it. I'm thinking I might actually make the pouch this big and back it with this vintage napkin. And I've got enough to line it with that as well. Don't know if I'll line it with it or do a different lining. But anyway, that's something else I'm working on. I've been using, to hand quilt this, I've been using machine thread. So I've been using these. I'll bump that because I can't see the screen now. I've been using these that I've been coveting for many years. I paid a fortune to have these sent from the UK years ago. Put them away, forgot where I put them. So I've been using these. However, I'm really struggling to see what I'm doing because it's so fine, and I'm not overly pleased with the look of it. So I'm starting to think I might be better off to use stranded thread so I can make it a bit thicker. I've got stranded neon instead. So that's something else I'm working on. I've got other projects I'm working on too, but I'm trying to concentrate on these for now. And of course, I'm also doing going through all the textiles for you guys to see if there's anything else I can upload that I don't want or don't need. I had a small amount of these, the DMC ones of these I had in my collection already. I didn't have many, but my friend at her shop had some of these for 50 cents the other day, so I grabbed a few more. Now, I didn't think I'd use them, but the more I think about it, the more I think these would probably be good for the needle weaving and the flower collages that I want to do. The Fleur Woods inspired ones. Now, I haven't done any of Fleur's courses. I haven't had the money to do that, but I did recently obtain her book. It's an absolutely beautiful book. Now, I must say, I think I will probably go against the grain with this one, and I'm very hesitant to say this, I was a little bit disappointed with the book. I mean, it's a beautiful book. It's beautifully written. It has some absolutely gorgeous images in it. But I think I was expecting to have more instruction written in it. I wanted to learn from it, not just learn about Fleur's life and how she got to here. I wanted more. I expected it to tell us more, I think. So yeah, again, it's a beautiful book. I'm very glad I have it. I'm very thankful that I have a copy. And there is some instruction in it, but for some reason it's just not what I expected. It's beautiful. It is a beautiful book. And it is something I will cherish and covet for many years to come. But yeah, I think I just expected a bit more, this is what you can do here and this is how you can do it. Not in great detail, obviously, and there is some, in the back here, there's some, she talks about what she uses: beads, frames, threads, needles, punch tools, things like that. Where else does it? Talks about colour palettes, gathering inspiration. Again, absolutely stunning images. And as I said, beautifully written. But yeah, I just expected a little bit more instruction. Talks about choosing colours, and there's a little bit about weaving stitch, which I appreciate. Of course, also chain stitch, blanket stitch, canthus stitch, couching French knots, and split back stitch. But I think I wanted to know how Fleur actually creates a piece, and I guess that's what she teaches at her workshops, obviously. Um, but I thought there'd be more snippets of that teaching. How she chooses which pieces to put on her work, how she layers the flowers, and then how she'll fill them in. I mean, I can work it out by looking at the images, but I think I just wanted a bit more information in the book. I mean, potentially that could be another book that Claire could write. I mean, Claire, where the hell did I get Claire from? I was thinking about Claire, someone. Um, yeah. Do I regret getting this book? No, no way. It's a beautiful book. And as I said, it's beautiful, beautiful images, inspiring images, and beautifully written. But it's just not what I expected. I've read it from the day it arrived. I sat down and started reading it, and I was just going to flick through it. So this will give you an idea of how much I actually did enjoy it. I said I'm just going to flick through it and have a quick look before I get dinner. I ended up sitting there for 2.5, 3 hours and read it from cover to cover, word for word. So I did enjoy the book. Um, yeah. Let me know what you thought of it. If you've got a copy, I'd love to know what you thought of it. Did you expect a little bit more instruction, or is it more than what you had hoped for, or, whatever? I'm not dissing it at all. Please don't get me wrong. I love it, but I'm struggling to enunciate what it was exactly that I thought would be included. But anyway, it doesn't matter. It's a beautiful book. I really love it. And yeah, I was going to, as usual, I was hoping to sit here and do some stitching with you guys, but I'm getting really tired. It's getting very cold and I'm struggling to keep warm. And I think it's time that Lady Willow of Berkshire be taken out for her walkies time. So thank you once again so very much for joining me. Um, After I upload this, as I've explained before, if you comment now, those comments disappear. Unfortunately, I can't go back and read them. If I haven't seen them, I apologise. So after I've uploaded it, and I'd love it if you would leave some comments, interact, ask me questions. I'd love to know what you're creating. If you're creating something um, amazing, let me know so I can come and have a look. I don't make the time to sit and go through everyone's YouTube at the moment. I just don't have the time to do that. But if you comment and let me know, I will have a look at your YouTube and or your Instagram so I can see what you're doing and celebrate your creations with you. I'd love to be able to do that. What else was I going to say? I can't remember, guys. One last thing I'd like to say, if you're anything like me, and a lot of you are, in the sense that I'm really struggling with what's going on in the world at the moment. And I just wanted to reach out and let you all know that I'm thinking of you all as a human being and that for me to protect myself, and if you don't already do this, it may be of some help to you. I have gotten rid of my television. I don't have a TV anymore. I don't want to see what's happening. I cannot let that enter into my psyche. It's too heavy. It's just too much. If I need to know, if I feel I need to know what's happening, I will choose how much I can see. I will go online and have a look and choose how much I want to know. But I'm trying to protect myself as much as I can. And a lot of people will say that's very arrogant and self-righteous and self-deprecating and whatnot. But I need to do that for my own well-being. I've also found that I need to connect with nature regularly. So I try and get outside every day, even if it's just in my garden. My poor garden at the moment has been very neglected. So I'm trying to spend a bit of time getting her healthy again. This time of year, I usually have flowers everywhere. I've only got one or two, and that's because I've been so unwell. I haven't been able to tend to my garden. Um, but I've also found if you saw my lives the other day at the beach, I have to take my shoes off as often as I can. It's not often I do take my shoes off, but taking my shoes off and walking on the cool grass, on the moss, on the sand, on the earth is very helpful as well. Um, and if you follow my Instagram, my main Instagram page, my Gladys and Maud one, I often try and upload things in my stories that I find relaxing, soothing, calming, beautiful. So I try and do that to share that with other people as well. But for now, just know that you are thought of and you are a wonderful human being. And if you need to take time out from this heaviness, take the time out. Don't beat yourself up. Don't feel bad. Don't let anyone tell you that you need to watch the news and you need to listen and you need to know what's going on. You don't. It's taken me years of practice. When I first pulled away from the news, I had people telling me constantly, you can't do that. You need to know what's going on. And I'm like, no, I don't. I got to the point where I don't need to know. If there's something I need to know, I'll find out. It's not that big a deal, really. So don't beat yourself up. Don't let anyone else tell you that you have to watch the news or you have. I mean, of course, if you want to, that's your choice. That's up to you. But just know that you don't have to. You don't have to watch it. You don't have to listen to it. You do not have to know what's going on. So, in saying that, I'm going to say goodbye, guys. Thank you so very much for joining me. And hopefully, it won't be very long before I can get some more treasures uploaded to my D-Stash page for you. Um, I'm still trying to rest my body, as I mentioned earlier. I'm trying not to rush myself. My kids are constantly saying, you don't have to do it, Mum. You can slow down. It's okay. So I've got their voices in the back of my head constantly at the moment. And I'm trying to convince myself that that's okay. That's okay. But I also want to let you guys know that I haven't forgotten. There's stuff coming. There's things happening. There's things happening behind the scenes. And yeah. So until then, I'll see you next time.